Hi, and welcome to this Facebook Live, the first ever for Oneida Builders, but the first of many. This is Rocco Sinisgalli, the owner of Oneida Builders.
Can't believe I'm here, Donna.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We want you to ask your questions live and be sure to take part. You can just ask your questions in the comments. And today we're going to be talking about the 4-week kitchen. This is a new concept for Oneida Builders. And Rocco, tell us a little bit about the 4-week kitchen.
Well, it's self-explanatory, but we wanted to make sure that we could renovate a kitchen, give you white glove service, and do it in 4 weeks or less. We do an 8-week kitchen, but it's a little more detailed, tear a lot of load-bearing walls out. So with the 4-week kitchen, it's more cost-effective, and we just wanted to cater to a different clientele, where we give some choices, 5 or 6 door styles, 5 or 6 granites, and just be able to service the need for that type of clientele.
Well, it's certainly beautiful. It's nothing, I mean, the materials are still beautiful. You
Yes.
can use all the right, materials for your countertops, whatever
Sure.
you want for your own taste and your cabinetry. I do want to start with, I was one of the first people who got a chance
That
to
was
take part
awesome.
in the 4-week kitchen. So let's take a look at the video
Okay.
from that 4-week kitchen.
All right.
We bought the house in 2004, and at the time we picked our finishes, and I thought they were so pretty. We got up one morning and we had this water leak. That's really what got us thinking about remodeling the kitchen, was the insurance claim. I never thought of Oneida as a fit for me because I knew that I was not going to spend $100,000 on a kitchen. I had heard that they started doing what they call the 4-week kitchen.
What I was trying to do is give the client white glove service at well affordable cost.
The financing is perfect, and I think it's amazing that Oneida is offering this. And it's a great rate, it's affordable, and it just makes sense.
All of our choices, cabinets, granite, and tile are in stock. And we feel that they compare with all the other custom choices. Our stock choices are as good, if not better, than stuff that you wait 8, 12, 14 weeks for.
This 4-week kitchen was absolutely perfect for us. So the first part was to meet with Rocco Sinisgalli and his designer, Millenials. All right, so this is the kitchen.
Okay,
Definitely a little opportunity for us.
yeah, a little dated. Nice open concept.
Yeah, and I love the painting. It'll go good with the new cabinets.
Yeah.
Donna worked with our designer and made all of her selections, cabinets.
Okay.
Beautiful.
It's actually just cream with a butterscotch glasses like
it's
this.
beautiful. I like it.
Granite, tile backsplash,
That's really pretty.
right down to the door handles.
It was great to be able to work with a really good designer.
I have to
No,
repaint
you're
the
not
whole.
gonna have to redo that. It even goes really good with your light fixtures.
We placed her order, and within 2 weeks, her cabinets are going to be in stock. Once that gets delivered, we're going to schedule her job from start to finish.
They demolished the kitchen, and I couldn't believe how quickly they were able to do that. They did put up dust barriers. They sort of closed off the kitchen for us, and we didn't have to worry about dust.
We're going to communicate with Donna each week. She gets an email for the following week.
They brought over the cabinets one day and then installed them the next day. I just keep visualizing, when's it going to be over? I can't wait to see it.
Donna's job, I really believe we can finish in 3.5 weeks.
The next step was to install the backsplash. It was like an orchestra, and everybody played their part, and then it went so quickly and efficiently, I just couldn't believe it.
The best thing about Donna's job is she's going to get exactly what she talked about, and that's the beauty. It's setting expectations and then me implementing them and meeting the expectations.
I didn't even know that I wanted or needed a new kitchen, so I'm shocked when I walk downstairs and I look at it and I'm so thrilled. I'm literally every day when I look at it, I think, I can't believe I live here. This is so beautiful. It's added so much to our home.
She's going to love me when we're there and love me when I'm gone.
So as I mentioned in there, I didn't even know I wanted a new kitchen, but this was so affordable. It was so easy to do. And another point that I made is I didn't want to take all that time. I mean, this is so quick and efficient. I think we finished in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3.5 weeks. Yeah. Well, what makes it work is the people behind us. I mean, we've got a great designer. We've got one of the best on-site supervisor, which is myself. I'm the owner. Office administration and estimators. So the Oneida team is really able to be very efficient, and it's enjoyable. That's what I love about this. It's so enjoyable to get the plan on paper, draw it, and then execute it. We're not making decisions in the field. Everything has been laid out. We build it on paper, and that's really why it works.
Yeah, and there's constant communication, and it is, like I said, it's affordable, especially with the financing, and then it doesn't take a lot of time. And then once everything is ordered and it starts, it just goes as efficiently as possible. So you're not waiting several days. And let's face it, in any kitchen remodel, it's difficult to go without your kitchen.
It is,
you know, but,
definitely.
But you guys make it as fast as possible.
Yes, and we accommodate. We set up. We'll take your refrigerator and put it in another room. Give you an area for your coffee pot, and then a microwave, and of course, your grill is always on hand. Paper plates. So setting the reasonable expectations will definitely help tremendously for this type of renovation. Yeah.
So let's talk about the financing and how that works.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really low rate,
Yeah.
and then you can stretch it out.
Yeah, there's different avenues. 6 months with no payment until 6 months, or you can just spread it out over 10 years, and rates are affordable. It's a quick and easy application. You do it right online. It's an app, and within usually 8 minutes, they'll know if you're pretty much qualified or not. So yeah, it's real simple, user-friendly, very private, and very successful at it.
And one reason I know that you wanted to do this was that, of course, you normally worked with people who were doing the 8-week kitchen, very customized.
Yes.
Every option is custom.
Yes.
And you really saw that there's a market, like those people's children or nieces and nephews that really wanted a beautiful kitchen, but they just couldn't afford that.
Yeah, and there's nothing more than satisfying the needs, and bringing that type of custom process into a more streamlined, affordable. It's like buying having a BMW at a lesser price, and really the comfort, all of that is encompassed in this process.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you want to go to the website, and I'm going to pull it
Okay.
up here, if anybody wants to go to the website, then they can see all about the 4-week kitchen.
Yep.
And there's a section entirely devoted to the 4-week kitchen.
Yes.
You can see some of the beautiful examples. And while we're on this
Okay.
page, let's talk about some of the quality of materials, and we can
Right.
continue to show this
Right.
page, and so show some of the really nice kitchens.
Yeah.
So we don't want you to think because it's more affordable that
Right.
there's any the
Lesser-
quality's still
right,
there.
right.
Yeah, look
Yeah.
at this. So tell us a
We
little
still
bit about
have
that.
all soft close doors and drawers. They're plywood boxes, so they're stable. And there is many options where you can still do pull-outs, double trash, spice racks. I mean, we can get you right into some of the very nice details that we do in an 8-week kitchen. 4-week kitchen, if we wanted to do a TV over the cooktop, that might not. We might have to do a custom cabinet for that in particular one, but give you that concept, that we've done in 8-week kitchens. Big islands, depending on the material selection, we can do it. Obviously, the decorating and bar stools, that comes after, usually with the client, depending on what you want there. But yeah, it's just a great process. Just because something looks expensive doesn't necessarily mean it has to be expensive. There's tiles that we can get for $1 square foot, and the same style of tile for $70 a square foot.
Right, and it's all about being able to control your
Sure,
budget, and that's one
sure.
thing that I really liked about it.
Yep.
And I know with mine, we started to say, let's just do the cabinets.
Yes.
And then you said to me, oh my gosh, for as little as the countertops are, you might as well take a look at it. And I'm thrilled. I'm so glad.
The countertops with the backsplash. I mean, we
Right.
can break that price out for you. And, you know, if you want to shop it and say, oh, I can find it more cost effective, we encourage it. Of course, we want to manage it. We want to schedule it, because if they're not part of our team, we don't. We want to make sure it fits in our 4-week kitchen. So we usually I'll meet with the vendor, set reasonable expectations, make sure they have insurance, liability, workers' comp, it's valid, and get some references just to protect you. I'm here to serve you, and to serve you with my team, it's easy. But if we bring somebody else in, no problem. Just let me go through the Oneida checkup.
Right.
Yeah.
And now we want to talk a little bit, and we can still continue to show some of these 4-week kitchens and that kind of thing, Alex.
Okay.
But I want to talk a little bit about how helpful, and you'll see me look over here. I'm just looking at my computer and monitoring to see if there are any questions or anything on Facebook. But I want to talk about the design work that you
Okay.
get, because that is something I think is really
Right.
important, like how helpful the
Sure.
designer is. I think you would think that you only get these great design services if you do have $100,000 for your kitchen, but that's not the case. You and the designer
Yes.
come to your house and
Yes.
show you some of your
Yeah.
choices.
Our first consultation is we'll come out with 4 or 5 door styles, some granite styles, and some backsplashes with that interior designer on the first call. So basically, we're showing you some samples right here. And a lot of times clients will have some pictures. Sometimes we'll say, you know, if you're on Pinterest or Houzz, that might not be cost effective, but here's a similar product in a similar style that we can implement and for more cost effective. So that's really, really helpful. We come out with the designer, myself, and my estimator, and within an hour, we've got a great idea of where you're going, what material selections you're going with, and sometimes a rough estimate even before we leave the house. And we're not there to try to sell you a kitchen on a one-stop, but we want to serve you and build trust. And to do that, we have the service to do that. We're big box stores, you know, it's just not that personalized feeling and the vested interest, because my business is once I take care of you, then it's that referral rate. It's just been very, very, very successful, and we're very proud of that referral rate. Like I said, we're doing the clients' children, their cousins, their aunts. We don't travel too far. We don't go to Dahlonega right now, but you know, so we focus on a geographical area that is just works for everybody.
Right. And a lot of people, frankly, in my neighborhood, in this part of
Which is
the
a
city.
very good neighborhood because of the
but-
age of the homes, and they were builder-grade cabinets now.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that people have gone to the big box stores
Sure,
here.
sure.
And I think they don't realize that you can get much better service and much better materials,
Yeah.
and they think they're saving money with those big box stores,
Yeah.
but you're not.
Yeah, and I'm not here to talk
Right.
about anybody else's business. I just know what I'm good at and how I feel each time I walk into your house. I've been doing this over 25 years in Atlanta, and I could honestly say every job that I complete, I go, wow, this looks great. And that's what it's all about.
Right.
You know, that's what it's all about. And the kitchen, I mean, everybody knows. Everybody wants to be in the kitchen. And, you know, I love to eat. So I love to produce great kitchens.
Yeah, and I love this so much because, like I said in the piece, I didn't even think that I wanted or needed a new kitchen, but I come down every single day and it just brightens my mood. It's brighter.
Right.
And, you know, the finishes when I bought this house in 2004,
Sure,
that
sure.
was kind of the end thing. Absolutely not anymore.
Well, I think you had the mindset, you were stereotyping the process. Dust, pain, overruns. You're a busy woman. I mean, you have a great business and a career, and you have limited time. So it was great to convince you after that first meeting and get you excited. And when the homeowner client's excited it makes everything work that much better.
Yeah.
And if there is a hiccup, you call me. I think something with one of the cabinet, the plumber, and boom, within 2 hours, I love to solve not problems but opportunities, and that's what's most important. You're not going through a red tape of project manager, supervisor. They're not around. So that's really what's important. And my on-staff project manager / carpenter, 15 years. My drywall guy, 22 years. Painter, 15 years. Electrician, 15 years. These trade partners are highly skilled and vested interest in making sure client's happy.
Yeah, and everyone, and I will say absolutely everyone that I worked with was so professional, cleaned up, very communicative, and it was interesting too. I never felt like I was being sold anything. I said from the beginning that I didn't think that I needed any new lighting or anything, and the electrician came out and met
that
with
was
me,
interesting.
and,
You're right.
and no problem.
He said fine.
And I didn't feel guilty for not getting any new lighting or anything, but we liked what we had, and the designer said, this is going to look great once you get the kitchen finished. And it was funny, I showed pictures to a friend of mine. I was out of town over the weekend, showed her my kitchen. I know that's so goofball, I'm showing people my kitchen. And so
it's like anything.
she thought the lighting was new because it looks so different in that new space.
It enhanced, obviously, the selections for the backsplash and the granite enhanced the lighting you already have, which kind of got washed away when it was there. And it was a trust thing. You trusted her to make them recommendations. And obviously, it was a cost savings to you.
Right.
Rather than us trying to say, you have to have the latest and greatest.
Right.
We would love for you to save that money. It's like a fine meal. After you have a fine meal, you want to just tell everybody how great it was.
Right.
And that's really what we're here, is to make sure that in conversation, you're able to do that.
Yeah, and I can't say enough good things about it. I mean, the process went really well. The final product was great. And I always say the process is as important as the product, because if you were not happy during that process, it doesn't matter how great the remodel turned out, that's what you remember. So that's a huge part of it, and everything was A+ for me. But we'd love for you to ask your questions. We only have about 11 more minutes to go, so please ask questions if you have them. You can always go to the Oneida Builders website, which is oneidabuilders.net. So I want to talk a little bit about the Sandy Springs article. So, so you were on the front cover of my Sandy Springs magazine.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. We got a great write-up in there, and we're getting a lot of positive response from that. The story of the company was interesting. I just thought it was normal, but I guess it wasn't. So
tell us about that. You have kind of a unique story. At least I love that story.
Well, I don't like to talk about it, but I don't know. So basically the big thing was when I moved to Atlanta, I didn't have a staff. So I would just come in the morning and meet the client dressed like this. Go over some things that were going to happen. Then we'd leave. I would just put on my work clothes and do the work, because I'm a master carpenter by trade. So everything you see in your house, I've physically built from the bottom up. Being from upstate New York, we didn't have trade partners that did the work. We did the work. So they would leave, I would do the work, and then I would go get cleaned up, and by 5 o'clock I'd come back when they were home to supervise, and make sure they did the right thing, but of course I did it. So it's like anything. I never want to take no for an answer, so I didn't have the help, I didn't have the networking that I have 25 years later, so it was, I didn't think anything of it.
But you know what? You had that story I love, and in the article they call him the Clark Kent of remodeling, and I love that. I love it. Yeah. But what you did have, and what it shows, I think, is just a total determination to do what you wanted to do, and enough
You're
grit
too kind,
and resourcefulness to just to make it happen. And that's what you have to have in business. I think when you have your own business, you have to be willing to do it however you can get it done, and that's what I think. But all these years later, Oneida has one of the best ratings and reviews.
We're fortunate, very blessed,
and that kind of thing.
fortunate.
So now you don't have to do all the work.
No. I still love to. I love to sweep and clean and organize. Because with the workers, I mean, they're there to do the task, but a lot of times the client doesn't see how difficult that plumbing was or that framing or that electrical. They just come in and they see it, but they want to see it clean and organized. So I'm kind of anal about that. I'm just like getting in the house. We make sure we leave your deadbolt on, and then we put our own lock. So there's no way we can ever enter your house unless you allow us to. Trust. If we can keep that from the start all the way to the finish at the end, and then at the end when we do the walkthrough, I need to complete the items in 2 working days. The door sticking, cannot leave it dragging on. It's just like when you get the check, when you want your check to pay for your meal, if that check doesn't come and you're waiting, that's all you remember, even though you had a great meal.
Yeah.
So, I pride myself on that, and that last 10%, I have to kick in 120%.
And you have a good understanding of how everything works, right? So
absolutely.
Being a master carpenter,
Yeah.
you really can understand the whole thing. So if there is a problem, you get it, right?
Oh, not only that, but I've been working with the same guys for, 15, 20 years. So I always want to make sure their job goes easy. The plumber's making sure the plumbing's in the right spot for the electrician, the cabinet man, all the plugs are located, the appliances. So that's what the smartest person on a construction site is a carpenter, because he lays everything out and then he's got to see it all the way through. And having that experience, the education, was just, it just works.
Right.
It just works. I tell people, I only know how to do a few good things well, and everything else somebody else does. So I'm fortunate that I can keep doing that over and over and over and over and over.
It always seems like to me that the cabinets are the cornerstone of everything in the kitchen, and the one thing that if your measurements are just slightly off, that it will delay things, cost you so much more.
Yeah.
I mean, and so your background in carpentry really helps with that, right?
Yeah,
With the
well,
cabinetry.
it's all layout, and when we measure the space in the beginning, we get measurements. But then our cabinet person comes out and does final measurements to make sure that walls haven't changed. So that's what we call a critical path. We have to have that critical path done, and it's done correctly, and then it gets implemented. It's a recipe, and that part of the recipe is a critical path. So we enjoy doing it. My cabinet man and I check each other. There's always 4 eyes on something, just like the schedule. We email you the schedule every week. So by the end of the business day Friday, the following week. Plumber, electrician, cabinets, template for granite. And that's probably one of the biggest compliments I get is at the end of Friday, they get the schedule.
Yes, it is very helpful. Yes.
And if there's an issue with the schedule, we're able to know that day, or we get an email or text that it won't work that day. I'm going to be out of town and I won't be home. So we can accommodate if needed.
Yeah, and everything just went so smoothly, and everything made sense. And I have been through remodels before where things were haphazard. So I think you have to go through a remodel once to really fully appreciate a good process, because we all probably think that every remodeler has a great process, right? But it's just simply not true. It's a lot of moving parts.
It is.
It's a lot of people to work with, and you really have to be perfecting that process constantly, I think.
And we only take so many jobs. We have a schedule, and we know our workload and our geographical area. So saying no or giving a realistic time is probably one of the things that I've learned as I matured in my business. You can't be everything to everybody all the time.
And that's why you have to take people who are a good fit for things and to really get to know them over the phone. And sometimes people are a little, sometimes they're insulted if they're like, what do you mean I'm not a good fit? But you can't give great service to everyone and take on everyone. So you really have to say. So let's talk about who's a good fit for the 4-week kitchen.
The 4-week kitchen is somebody that typically doesn't want to uproot their whole first floor. wants some selections but not 200 selections. Cost effective from $60,000 and under. Wants a designer, wants a project manager, wants to feel secure, the ability to call my old clients, visit some of my jobs, go on the web, and ask me the tough questions. Where have I fallen short before? So I'm not perfect, but I thrive on solving the opportunity quickly and setting realistic expectations. So geographically, we're out of Dunwoody, but we service Sandy Springs, Brookhaven, West Cobb, and referrals. If you give me a referral and it's not in my geographical area, I'm going to take care of it because I want you to always, me to be in the back of your head. Age, it doesn't matter. With the financing, we see some of the younger people like to finance, and it doesn't matter. So we're here to serve and execute what we're good at.
Yeah, and I think that's a good, I know that one of the audiences you wanted to reach are millennials, and great
Yes,
for millennials.
yes,
I
love
think
them,
it
love 'em.
allows them
Yeah.
to be able to enjoy their home,
Yeah.
and of course they don't want to spend a huge amount
Yeah.
of money. And who, as a millennial, has like 100,000
Yeah,
saved,
and they're tech savvy, so they love the DocuSign.
Yeah.
They love the online application, the app for the financing. They love the emails. They love the reviews. So that tech savvy part is point, click, and it's done. Anything above and beyond the scope, we can send a change order. That's all DocuSigned. We're not going to implement anything on the job unless it's signed by both parties.
Right.
Typical thing, somebody's traveling and another person's signing change orders and not, so we make sure people communicate.
Right.
The people that we're serving are both communicating. So there's no surprises.
Right.
That are not fun surprises.
Yeah, well, it's a surprise when you go
You know?
downstairs and you love everything about your kitchen.
Yes.
And I have to say, it's surprising that everything goes so well because
Yeah.
in anything,
Yeah.
things can go wrong. But I will have to say
Yeah.
there were no issues. This is great for a person who just doesn't have either the time or the amount of cash that it would
Sure.
take to do a huge remodel.
Sure.
It is fantastic for someone who wants to just update the finishes
Yes.
to make their kitchen look fresh.
Yes.
Not taking out walls or changing the footprint, but just wanting a whole new, updated look, one that you can be proud of. And I have to say, for me, it just worked absolutely great. fit.
Hoo-wah.
So we will be here on a regular basis with Rocco answering your questions live. So any remodeling questions, just bring them to us.